Be strong.
That's right, folks. Break out the glow sticks. You know what that music is. It's Thursday, week 5. Roster the people. Neil Smith, Jordan McDonald, Jason Draven. How are you gentlemen doing? Jason, how's it going over there?
I'm great, man. Started off rough this week with a couple pop tires on my bike while I was riding, and just been rolling since then. So it could be worse, but I'm excited for this game. I'm curious to see who actually shows up and how it actually ends up looking. So this will be interesting.
I think it will be. And Jordan, as our resident Colts fan, how are you doing over there?
Well, I'm doing well. I'm not excited for the mediocre football we'll have to force ourselves to watch tonight, but that's. I feel like that's most Thursdays. I feel like we haven't really gotten a good Thursday night football game.
Whoa.
I'd argue Chargers Chiefs was pretty good. Actually, I hate to agree with Jason to start the show, but look. You have to grade on a curve for Thursday night football because it's always worse. I'm of the camp that there shouldn't even be Thursday night football.
Well, let me just say,
I'm in that minority.
We have seen, so Herbert got hurt in that game, and that caused a whole fuss.
Yeah,
and
but it looked really good there.
Then Tua got hurt last week, and that caused the whole shitstorm. Oh, a shoot storm.
PG-13, sir.
PG-13.
It means we're allowed one F-bomb, by the way, per FCC rules.
I said the shoot word. So, but anyways, let's just hope that there's no major injuries tonight, and we can get some decent football.
We are off to a flying start, and I agree with you. Hopefully, we can at least get a decent football game here. I know I live in Denver, as people know. I know so many people that are at this game, including our own Mason Cameron, I believe, is there tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how the sports betting things get.
Whoa!
Adjusted.
I get to be on the sports betting thing because he's there.
No, I know. I'm interesting to see how it's going to get, how his lines will be, because he's going to be at the game. Like, we'll see how the intoxication of, use that word very deliberately, by the way, of Mile High affects a person. But yeah, I know a lot of people that are there. It's a beautiful night here in Denver. It's 70 degrees, low winds. So weather will not be an issue. Let's say it is a beautiful fall day. But frankly, we'll get into Thursday night. We're going to do it here in a moment, but you know what we're here to do. We're here to answer questions and set people's lineups, and we've already got them trickling in. So normally I try to pronounce no. I'm going to go with I'm just going to go with R here. I can't. I'm pretty good, but I can't do it. And
that's a randomizer for sure.
It's got to be. And I will say, interesting question though. How much work can we expect from Brian Robinson and Gus Edwards? Jordan, we'll go to you first.
That name. Personally, I just wouldn't play them. It's no guarantee that either of them will play this week. I think we'll know more maybe tomorrow. I know that they're designated to return, which doesn't mean they are returning. It just means there's a 3 window. I think there is
21 days.
21 days, so 3 weeks. So if you're planning to play them, then don't. That's my advice. I would just wait to see even both of them. If they were to play, what's the role? How many snaps? Are they at a snap count, etc.? I would just stay away from it altogether.
Seems like sound advice. Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you're probably not playing either of them at this point, just because granted, they did actually log practices this week, which is a plus for sure. And Robinson, I guess, hit a pretty good hole earlier today based on the video I saw and looked solid on it. But it's again
really
the
part
risky.
Where he fist bumped Ron Rivera on the way.
Of course, you know they're besties. This is going to work out great. This is why you stashed him. If you've been watching the waiver show, you would have known 3 weeks ago. Make sure he is there waiting for you, because this is going to be gold. But he's taken over that job very quickly. If it is this week, I would say that he gets at least 10 snaps, and that's because he's on a snap count just to see if he's okay.
Okay, and so that's where I'm going to go here. I'm not expecting either one of them to actually get cleared to play this week. So I don't think you're expecting anything from them this week, to directly answer your question. Within that, when they do get cleared, I think Brian Robinson will maybe play 10 to 20 snaps, not even carries or attempts, 10 to 20 snaps in his first game, and we'll ramp it from there. Gus Edwards, similar type of thing, 10 to 20 snaps. And in that instance, it might actually be less because he is at the unfortunate disadvantage of J.K. Dobbins beating him back and actually looking like a professional running back in his first game. I wouldn't say great because he only played 63% of the snaps. He fell into the end zone twice. It's a little random. But he was good enough to be out there for 63.5% of the snaps. So I'm tempering expectations for whenever they first come back. I'll echo what you both said. You're going to want to get a sense of where they're going to come in at and then adjust from there. I'm not ready to pronounce J.D. McKissic and Antonio Gibson dead in the case of Brian Robinson. So we'll see how that goes. It maybe by the end of the year we'll get there, but it's not going to happen immediately. So we're going to have to just see what happens and kind of take it from there. I am also excited though about Brian Robinson coming back. He does look not only is it a cool story, he looks strong, just generally speaking. So
did you watch the video of from 2 or 3 weeks ago of him doing the ladder drill?
Don't think I did, but we do.
It's ridiculous.
Look it up on Twitter, folks, because we do have more questions piling in, and some of them are time gated, like this one. So Ryan, welcome back, sir. We always enjoy your questions. So rank these guys half PPR, and Pittman is in there, so I want to get this one done before the game starts.
Okay, I'm going to go Robinson, Pittman, Harris, Williams, Stevenson.
That's just wow. That's
shocking.
Considering,
Jordan, go ahead.
Well, I first saw Stevenson above Harris because it's PPR. But if I'm going to order them,
it's half PPR. So touchdowns count. That's why I'm going that way.
I'm going to go Pittman, Mike Williams, probably Robinson because he's got a really good matchup. But so do all three of the running backs, though.
Robinson has the clear workload here. That's the whole reason.
Yeah,
I
just think that Houston's running.
Pittman is going up against Sertan tonight, and it's probably going double covered.
So I'm going to go those three, and then I go Stevenson, Harris, just because it's PPR. I'll put Stevenson just at Harris. But they're all good options.
They're all good options. I'll agree with that. But it's Pittman, Williams, Robinson, people. Come on now. It's half-point PPR.
Doesn't matter.
I understand Pittman has a bad matchup tonight against the Colts, against the Broncos, but they don't have anything else going tonight. The Philip Lindsay revenge game narrative is hilarious to me.
Alec Pierce. Stop playing this game.
I know you
Stop
like
playing
Pierce.
this game.
I know you like Pierce and no one cares. And I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off right there. Pierce he's got a terrible matchup and is barely involved. If Pierce can figure out how to get 5% of Michael Pittman's usage, I'll PayPal you $10. How's that
tonight
sound?
or on the year?
I'll do both for the night or the rest of the season. We'll track the numbers down. It's Pittman, it's Williams, it's Robinson. I'm avoiding the Patriots split this week. I get that it's tantalizing, but we don't know how that's all going to shake out. Whereas I view this as
who their quarterback's going to be.
That is also a component of it. And if it's Mac Jones, then I like it less. If it was, Zappy, maybe they lean on the running game a little harder. But we won't know any of this until the weekend. And part of this decision has to get made right now. So, and the reason I say Williams is because Keenan Allen, we'll get to it later, probably not playing. Almost overwhelmingly likely not playing. And Robinson has the matchup of dreams here. Don't read too much into the fact that he had a 3 or a 2.5 or whatever your scoring system is last week. That game was a nightmare in the rain. It got away from him from the first snap. The Eagles look legit. That looks like a real, at least right now, they look like if this was the playoffs right now, the Eagles would be going pretty far. We'll see how it shakes out at the end of the year, but they're a real team right now. They're firing on all cylinders. They're winning in all phases of the game. I have very little negative things to say about the Eagles, to be perfectly honest right now. And they rattled Jacksonville. Houston's not going to be able to do any of that stuff, and their run defense is 32 out of 32 in the league for a reason. So I view this as being a James Robinson get-right game at the highest order. And we did get a follow-up question quickly.
I do. I have him above Stevenson, but that's because I trust him to get to the end zone, while Stevenson's going to be on the field less. So it really also depends on quarterback play.
Yeah, that too. I put Stevenson over Harris just because PPR, and Stevenson has shown to be the pass catching back. That's the only reason. Who knows? Like Neil said, it's kind of hard to discern what that's going to look like. It's the Lions. There's points to be there, I think, but it's tough. But if you have both and you have to pick one, I'm picking Stevenson.
All right. So we'll circle back to that, Ryan, if you have further follow-up questions. But we do have another we do have a another Thursday night related question.
Okay.
Alec Pierce or Brandon Ayok?
Who do you
Go
think
ahead,
it is?
Jason. Just go. Just
Yeah.
go. Just go.
Give me
I'm
the
just
ball.
gonna.
I mean, this is the perfect matchup. Surtain's going to be covering Pittman. He's probably going to get double coverage because that's what they're going to try to take away. They're not worried about the run game now. Alec Pierce is going to be wide open. It's going to be worked out great. I love this for Pierce. It's going to be a great matchup. He has the talent to do this. I'm excited for it, and I don't trust Ayuk. That's really what it comes down to, especially in this matchup. They're going to be able to slow down the game, run the ball a lot. It's going to be a lot of Wilson and Debo. So there's no point in even wanting to buy into the 49ers offense outside of Wilson, Debo, and I mean, if you want to make a point for Kittle, I mean, but he's been blocking so much. Even then, it's so terrifying. But this is a matchup of dreams for Kittle. I'm still worried that he isn't going to get over 8 points, and it's frustrating.
I don't like either of these. I don't like either of these guys, but I will concede to the guy not playing tonight because I like Pierce. Like, don't get me wrong, like I don't want to be
Clearly
biased,
not.
but he's I don't like him enough to play him. Like, I'm not insane. Like,
Okay. Hang on.
You're pulling up your rankings.
It's never good when I have to scroll this far. Like, I have Brandon Ayuk at 40, which admittedly is not great. It's the bottom part of flex. I have Alex Pierce at 69. Nice.
Sweet.
That is my answer to your question, sir.
I thought it'd be closer, to be honest. Like, closer to 69, nice, but 40 is generous. Like, I thought 40 generous. I'm gonna agree. I go Ayuk, but I don't like either.
I don't feel great about this per se, my choices, but at least give me the guy that has some kind of defined role.
Yeah.
Because what is Alex Pierce's role?
Ayuk
really?
39 and then Pierce 35. So
I'm gonna win so many $10 bets at this point.
That was a great reaction.
I tell you what, we'll do another one because Alexis had to wait patiently for the first one.
Oh
so
yeah,
we'll do another Alexis question right out the gate. Breece Hall, Ramondre Stevenson. I don't know if this means start one versus the other. I'm gonna take it that way, or if this just means generally. But
both. You're starting Hall either way, but I love Hall here. This is a great option. I'm pumped for Hall. You saw his snap increase. He did great with Wilson. They were able to move the ball. I don't think his role. I think he has solidified that role and has taken over that backfield for sure from here moving forward. Granted, this week isn't great, but again, it's going to be interesting to see how it works out for him. And I just love Hall in this matchup, especially. But rest of the season for sure as a starting running back for the Jets.
Yeah, I'll agree. I think Hall has kind of just separated himself, and I think it's going to get even better. I think Michael Carter is pretty much like gone. Like, I think Michael Carter is getting close to drop territory. I really do, because I think Breece Hall, and maybe not quite, because you never know. He's a rookie.
Bye weeks are coming up.
Bye weeks are coming up. The wheels may come off. He's a rookie running back, but Breece Hall, yeah, each week he's getting more and more usage, and I think that you like that more than you like split backfield, and this is not a split backfield with the Jets.
Hall cracked 65% usage rate last weekend, scored the touchdown. I'm not thrilled that he's a little nicked up already, but I'm not going to worry about that. The rare we all agree on something, Breece Hall over Stevenson. Breece Hall is a legitimate flex this week, and frankly, until proven otherwise. Mm-hmm. He's trending the right direction, and they just don't have much else. So and frankly, they drafted him for this purpose. This was the reason. So it was always going to flip flop, and I think we're starting to see that happening. It's actually happening a couple weeks sooner than I thought it would. So it tells you really what you need to know about Michael Carter as well. Is it time to trade Gabe Davis?
It really
By the way, Sword Eagle 175. We appreciate you coming back every week. I know this. I love this logo.
Are we doing a buy low, or are you trying to sell high? Because buy low, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a great buy low target, but I don't know how much you'll get for Gabe Davis right now. We said this last week. Gabe Davis hasn't done much.
I mean, he was fine when he's been playing, but the fact that he's been injured so much has really dropped his stock. I mean, that's what I'm
saying. If buy low, like, you can't sell him high, so you either buy him low or you hold on to him.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. It depends on where you're coming from. I think he's a great buy low target for sure. And then after 2 weeks, you sell him high, because I'm expecting the next 2 weeks he's going to get a lot of usage and will be very valuable, and you can just move on from there, especially during bye weeks.
I will say the fact that Jamison Crowder is likely done for the season. Stay with me here because I know people don't like talking about James Crowder, but we're going to get there. Jamison Crowder's done for the season. Isaiah McKenzie basically by default formalizes that role. And it actually just clears up a lot of things with this, where it makes this a lot more easy to digest as far as not having to add another receiver into the mix. So Gabe Davis, I agree. It's a short-term acquisition. Long-term, I'd like to move on. If I'm the one trying to trade Gabe Davis right now, I'm not doing it because I'm going to wait 2 or 3 more weeks, and then I'm going to trade Gabe Davis. If I'm very beat up at wide receiver and the person who's rostering Gabe Davis is frustrated or doesn't need him, I'll make a low ball offer, probably acquire him and see if I can flip him myself. It's a little dirty, but negotiation is a skill. So it's one of those things. And also we're getting some clarity in Buffalo here. I think we know what people's roles are at this point. And also as it relates to Crowder leaving and Mckenzie getting the job, Mckenzie's also still in the concussion protocol. So there might be some additional targets that just by attrition move around. Dawson Knox also might not be playing. Gabe Davis is rapidly becoming one of the only, besides Stephon Diggs, one of the only healthy Bills pass catchers. And he's doing it at just the right time. So that's the way that I think we'll tell you to do that. We'll double dip again to Story Eagle 175. How long until Tua comes back? Nobody knows the answer to this question in a real way. I'll tell you, it's going to be a longer timeline than normal because of all the smoke that is going on around this. There's likely going to be a lawsuit that comes out of the handling of all of this. And frankly, if it's proven that the NFL acted improperly, some people are going to get fired. And rightfully so. So you're not going to know how long
One has already been fired.
And right. The independent neurologist has already been fired. So the NFL is in disaster recovery mode. This has been the NFL only reacts when something is and a negative story has been in the news for a long enough news cycle that they absolutely have to do something. So they did some low level actions. You're not going to know about this until several weeks from now. My guess is they've already ruled him out this week. That much we know. I'll be shocked if he's playing the week after that. And at that point, maybe he can come back with 2 weeks removed. Maybe, but I'd say it might be as many as 3. It'll be as long as it takes for him to get officially properly medically cleared, probably by multiple independent neurologists, because now they have to do damage control to make sure that there's no further impropriety, because it will only compound their problems in the courtroom that will be happening later this year.
I agree with all of that.
I'm waiting to see when they actually have
it's a shooty situation.
Very shooty.
It's a very shooty situation all around.
It's a cluster flick.
It's a cluster. Yes, I like it. I like that. That's good. That's
good. They really don't have a tough matchup. I mean, maybe the Steelers week 7 would be a good one for him to come back.
Holy cow, Mike Manning.
No. It's Michael Manning.
It is Michael. It is Michael Manning. I'm sorry.
Not the same. Not related.
Yeah, unrelated. Go with Hines tonight, or wait and pick from Stevenson, Elliott, Dobbins for Sunday.
You know what? I have fallen victim to the Hines hype one too many times, and I feel like
Philip Lindsay's coming in.
Well, it's not going to be Philip Lindsay. It's going to be Hines. It's going to be Lindsay. It's going to be Deion Jackson. It's going to be the whole slew of it. It's not going to be one guy. I mean, if you're gonna play Hines, it's gonna be tonight.
I'd rather.
I don't know if I'd pick him over Dobbins.
It's either Zeke or Dobbins of those options for me. And let's see who I actually have higher.
This is always riveting.
Yeah. Dobbins I have ahead because of the matchup this week.
I probably wouldn't. If you have those options, I wouldn't. I would just.
I would not play Hines either, and I would actually likely roll with Dobbins. It's the highest upside of those. So yeah, I do not want to get into the Hines business on a Thursday night game. I'm good.
And let's that Dobbins has a full backfield. There's no Justice Hill. They don't like the other guys. Gus Edwards is just coming back, may not even play.
And this is a good matchup for him to come back to and get a couple of snaps. But it's mostly Dobbins.
He's not going to make an impact. So it's going to be Dobbins' backfield for this game going forward. But we'll see. But this is going to be a J.K. Dobbins game.
One would have to believe. So That I think. Well, we actually largely agreed on something also there today. So it's going to be Dobbins is going to be our answer. And Jason, this one's right at you from Daniel Ward.
Perfect. Damian Harris, Pittman, Jeff Wilson. Oh my gosh, they're going to say Pittman because it's PPR, which I completely get. I would go Wilson.
I will cut to the chase and say Pittman right
now.
Yeah,
like we'll just hear what Jason says because that's,
Well, it's right. Wilson because they're going to run the ball. So I know that they're going to say Pittman. I would say Wilson just based on workload, and they're going to say Pittman because of PPR. So there you go.
There you go. All right. All right. This is more the normal show where we split on things like this.
Oh, you're gonna let somebody.
But now I can read your mind, so it's fine. We'll work.
Somebody's gonna have 25 points for Pittman on their bench because of you, Jason. I hope you know that.
Yeah, and I'm going to be that guy. I have him on my bench.
Oh, Daniel asked your question twice. Daniel, we're working our way. We're working our way there, sir.
Well, he did say he was Mr. 5,280 questions. So
yes, and that's true. He's great.
That's true. So we got that one, and then here we go. Yo Gotti.
Love it.
Oh. This is, easy for me. I'm going Herbert and Lawrence.
Yeah, I agree. Because it looks like Montgomery's not going to play. Herbert has been pretty fit.
He did move up a little bit. He actually had a limited practice today.
We will touch on that. Well, we were going to touch on that, but we'll do it now. Shockingly, David Montgomery was limited at practice today. He did.
Blew my mind. I still think there's no reason that he should be playing this week, but
I have no confidence in it, but he did get back. I get the question because he did come back to practice, and if you're this far down that you're talking about starting Nyheim Hines on a Thursday night, and that's your other option, I kind of get the question. I would love to start David Montgomery over Nyheim Hines. I have no confidence that David Montgomery is playing. So since I have to make this is also why I hate Thursday Night Football, by the way, because I have to make this decision before I have all the information, and I know what'll happen. I'm telling you to start Hines. Hines is going to get a 5, and then Montgomery's going to score 3 touchdowns on Sunday with half a practice.
Yep.
And I know this because it's just science. I have so much history.
Both Herbert and Hines. That's why it works out great here. If one doesn't play, you can play the other.
Oh, that's the slash. Okay, thank you. If that's the case, if you actually do have if you have Herbert, then you're waiting. Don't play Nyheim Hines tonight. Don't play.
I think people are getting so worked up with Hines.
And then go ahead, Jordan.
I would just say people are getting so worked up with Hines because John Taylor's gone and there's this huge vacuum for carries. It's not going to be Hines. It's going to be, I'm telling you, it's going to be a 3-headed monster. And if
you don't want any of it.
If you have watched Colts football last 4 weeks, like I have, they don't run the ball well. I don't know what's going on with that team.
The O-line doesn't look great.
Well, and that's the thing. And I don't think it's going to improve in this game. So I tell you, if you don't have to play Hines, don't do it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. If you don't have to play Hines, avoid it.
And then the quarterback.
Wilson or Lawrence.
I think we all agree. Jason Lawrence. I'm going to say Lawrence.
Yeah, it's Lawrence. It's Lawrence, and
the matchup is just.
It's Lawrence. It's actually closer than you might think, but it is Lawrence. I'm not scared, as we already covered. I'm not scared by the fact that they had one bad game against the Eagles in a rainstorm. No. It's not enough to scare me off yet. And moving right along, I had it and I've lost it. Here we go. Ray, welcome back, Ray. Love your questions. Broncos D versus the Colts or Eagles versus the Cards?
I can't stop it. You have to go Eagles here. They're just rolling, man. And the Cards just look not good. They look very lost.
I agree. Believe it or not, I'd be playing the Eagles defense. I have them as a top 5 defense this week. They're playing at a very high level right now, and the only time the Cardinals seem to be able to get any offense is in the fourth quarter when they're losing by 2 touchdowns, and they just go hurry up, and teams start backing off,
and the Eagles have all the corners here,
and they can't establish the run.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you would need to do. That's what you would need to do to beat the Eagles. You have to be able to establish the run to beat the Eagles. It's not happening. You can make a lot of arguments. It's the O-line. It's Kingsbury. It's James Conner. Pick whatever one you want. Yeah, pick one. It doesn't matter to me. It's all the same. It's going to net to the same thing. So I know, Jordan, you're smirking. Is that no? You're going to go?
Well,
Broncos
I just feel like no. I'll go Eagles, but
it's close.
You just don't know what Colts team's going to show up. And that's what kind of makes the Broncos a little bit, exciting to play. But I feel like the smart move is to go Eagles.
Yeah.
I think they're both pretty safe, though.
They are pretty safe. I do have Denver inside the top 10. They are at 10, so it's not like the weirdest decision ever. But I'm gonna hold on to it, and I'd rather deal with the team. Even within that, I'd rather deal with the team playing on Sunday than on Thursday, anyways. We're gonna keep saying. Goff or Wilson? Jason, go.
Man, you can't stop. I've been saying it all through every start-sit thing. Every time I'm going Goff here. Dude is on fire. You cannot stop them. This team is going to have to throw the ball. I don't care who they're playing. I don't care what the situation is. Goff is just too hot to sit right now.
It doesn't worry you that he's going to be playing like a decent defense, like a better
Don't
defense?
Care.
Don't care? I think I will go.
Dude's putting up so many yards because he has to pass it so often because they're always down. This game he could actually be competitive in. The only thing I'm worried about is potentially time of possession for the Patriots. Yeah. And if they don't have a good quarterback right now, if Jones is out to manage it and they're dealing with Zappi, who I think I really enjoy as a quarterback overall. But
yeah, he looks a lot like Davis Mills. I figure he would float your boat. Yeah.
Well, I had Carson Strong.
He looks like a Madden creative character and also has a very Madden creative character name, as I was saying on Twitter.
And the school too. Like that's just like prototypical. I think I would put Goff slightly ahead of Wilson, just so what we've seen. But I would again don't expect 48 points or 45 points from the Lions again.
And Swift is out.
But yeah, I mean Jamal Williams fits like a glove in that offense. That's not really a concern. They're going to still run the ball regardless who's in the backfield. But he's getting Chark back, most likely. They'll have Hawkinson. I don't know about Amon-Ra St. Brown. I guess that's kind of iffy.
They're still up in the air. I think a limited practice today.
Yeah. But I would go Goff if these are the two options.
Okay. Here's what I'll tell you. I technically have Wilson rated higher in my rankings. I'll tell you how I would approach this. Look at your matchup, and here's what I will tell you. Look at your matchup, and if you think you need if you think you're gonna lose, and you think you need an upside play to win, you play Goff 10 times out of 10 because he's the one who can get you a 40. If you think you need something safe because you should win that game, then you play Wilson. This is the advice. I've been getting these questions all week. I've been getting people asking me, Geno Smith or Wilson. I get the question. Wilson hasn't been playing great. He played a little better last week. But here's what I'll say. Wilson's not going to crater you out and give you a 5. That's not happening at any point. Whereas Goff, that could happen. We've seen it before. I've got too much history on Mr. Jared Goff that at any moment he could just forget how to play football and put up a 5. Like it could happen. So that's how I'll answer this question, Kendall, is look at your matchup and decide what do you think you need to win. And if you think you need to swing for the fences, then put Jared Goff in there. But if you just need a safe floor, go with that. Go with Wilson, I should say. And from Mike, PPR, flex. I assume he means Melvin Gordon. It's the only Melvin I know. Melvin Gordon, Dobbs, Keenan Q.
Yeah, he's questionable. I mean, we don't know if he's playing. That's why I'm assuming that he said he's questionable.
That's how I'm taking that as well.
Okay. That's a little more difficult, but I think I'm going to go Dobbs. I'm worried that they're going to be able to run all over. The Packers are going to be able to run all over them, but Dobbs just has so much upside and really looked good last week. He almost had a second touchdown, which is so frustrating.
Yeah, I'll go Dobbs too. Colts have a great run defense. It's the one good thing I can say about this team. Unless he falls into the end zone, I don't think Melvin Gordon's gonna have a good game. So, and we're under the assumption that Keenan Allen's not gonna play. So by that count, Dobbs is last man standing. I'm gonna go Dobbs.
Okay. Look, I get it. I understand. And I think this actually dovetails into the response I gave a minute ago.
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
If I needed the floor, if I need 12 points or 15 points, and that's what I think I need, play Melvin Gordon. Because I get that they have a good run defense, but there's every chance he falls into the end zone here.
Yep.
And so if I feel like I need something safe and I need guaranteed positive points to the tune of 10 to 15, because in PPR, I'm going to play Melvin Gordon. If I think I need a 30, if I think I'm going to lose and I'm swinging for home runs, put Dobbs in. Put Dobbs in because what do you lose from that anyway? If you thought you were going to lose anyway, and he blanks you, you just pick up the pieces.
Can I just make a disclaimer?
Yeah, go ahead.
A little off topic. Make sure your lineups are set before 9:30 Eastern, because I know a couple
On
people.
Sunday.
I know a couple people that kept Kamara in their lineups.
Yeah, I
going
saw
into
that
Saturday
too.
night.
Well, that was also pretty late. I
Well,
mean,
that's
you have to
still,
wake up to
no.
do it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Make sure that you're up, because you never know. Surprise inactives. There's some shady stuff going down in the United Kingdom.
Some shooty stuff going down.
I said shady.
Shady.
Yeah,
okay. I'm on. No, I'm
Shady.
watching you. I'm watching you over there.
I've already used my one. Okay, I'm not. I can't go over.
Yeah,
I used it in the first 2 minutes. So
right before people started getting on here for the day.
That's true.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. I think we've covered that, and just sit rep. We're coming up on kickoff here, so we've got like two more. We got to mow down. Jenny, Wilson or Cousins? Jason, go.
Wilson. I mean, I like Cousins and everything, but I feel like another great matchup for the running back here. So I'm going to go Wilson.
Two quarterbacks that have not played well recently. I'll go Wilson because Kirk Cousins has burned me, so I'm a little biased.
3 for 3, clean sweep. I'm also going Wilson here.
Thanks for coming, Jenny.
Yeah, thank you for coming, Jenny. And that one, at least that one was easy. You know what I mean? Like that was an easy one. And now we'll go back to HDS here. Start 2 full PPR.
Oh, so excited.
Go ahead, Jason. Just you this is your question.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's Godwin.
I can tell
and
this is directed at him
all day. I love it so much. I'm all over Godwin now that he's back. He looked fine last week. He's going to see a lot of the targets. And Olave, Thomas is likely out. Landry just had a limited practice this week. Olave is clearly the guy. I don't care who the quarterback is. A lot of great talent there, and I'm excited for both of them.
I actually agree with Jason.
Let's go.
That's my two, because I think Hollywood Brown's not going to play very well. He's going against probably Darius Big Play Slay, and Dameon Pierce is going to be playing negative game script, essentially. And I think Dameon Pierce could play well, but I'd rather take the two solid options in Godwin and Olave.
Yeah, I will say we're gonna. I can't believe it. Against all odds, we are gonna clean sweep this, and it's Godwin and Olave. I can't believe in this universe I'm living in where I'm recommending this, but that is my rankings for this week, because Olave's target share and usage rate is just too high with Michael Thomas not playing. If Michael Thomas was playing,
still
we would for you, yeah, but for me, no. But yeah, that's where we are. So it's what a world.
Hey, we're doing pretty well today. Like
what a world,
just rolling,
folks. Okay, I believe that is all the lineup questions for Thursday. I'm scanning here aggressively and I'm vamping for time. So I am. While I continue to do that, we'll take another question from Ray. Brees Hall or Ramondre?
We kind of did this one already.
Hall.
That's true. We did. Hall.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
Super simple.
Another one around. Got them all there.
Yeah, but we did that one already. But I guess we'll try.
We did, but it's Hall around the horn.
Hey,
we'll do one that we haven't done. There you go. There's a more real question for PPR.
I'm assuming Corey Davis.
It would have to be.
Okay.
Or Gabe
most
Davis.
likely.
Or Gabe Davis.
That's my issue. Gabe. I'm like, there's too many similar names.
Does it matter?
Initials in front.
Does it matter?
I mean,
it does if it's Gabe Davis. I will admit.
I guess because Keenan's not playing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
let's just go into the subject, because if it's Corey Davis, then I honestly have a bottom. Like, I would play James Conner over Corey Davis. I really would, even against the Eagles. Even against the Eagles, just because he's essentially their only running back. They don't really trust him. When James Conner's playing, the other two guys, Eno Benjamin, I guess maybe in the passing game, Darrell Williams is useless. So, but if it's Gabe Davis, it switches up a little bit, because I'm going to assume Keenan's out, like we've been saying.
Yeah, we're all making that assumption. We've
already established that.
It's McLaurin and Dobbs for me. So.
Yeah, I know. I will get into your James Conner take here properly at some point, I'm sure.
Oh, please do.
Well, it's on my list.
You want to just do it? We're here. It's a Conner question. Go ahead. Go ahead. Just do the Connor. Just do your Connor. I know you have. It's further down the sheet, but just do it. We'll.
Yeah. So he's my sit of the week. I mean, his best matchup last week was against the Panthers, and he only put up 10.7 fantasy points. Like, the Eagles are a good run defense. This team, they can't establish a run. It's not going to happen. I don't trust Connor to do anything. And the Eagles are ranked bad against running backs right now because of the first week against Swift and Williams, who put up a massive week, was 42 fantasy points. And then a moderate week from McKenzie and Gibbs, who put up 21 combined fantasy points. Like, that's what's weighing him down right now. So I don't think Connor is better than any of them. So I don't expect him to go above. I mean, the 10 is what you're hoping for at this point with him. And I think that all of those other options easily get that in PPR.
Yeah.
So if you didn't get that, Connor is my set of the week.
We got it.
Okay.
You were pretty clear. You led with it.
I don't remember
good.
what I say. I just kind of start talking and can't remember anything. So,
Mike did clarify here further down that it is Gabe Davis that he is referring to. So,
that makes it tougher.
I am torn. Those first three.
I'm probably still, because it's PPR, I'm going to go McLaurin and Davis in.
I'm going to say that too. Dobbs is close, but I think I'll do McLaurin Davis as well.
Come on, Neil. You know you want to do it.
Nope. It's McLaurin Dobbs.
Oh!
Take that. It's McLaurin and Dobbs, and I'll tell you why. It's because right now we still don't know if Gabe Davis is actually going to play. He's trending that way. But it's also the difference. The difference in rankings between Dobbs and Davis is negligible. It's literally 3 spots in my rankings. So I get the question. It's you're picking.
Davis logged full practices this week, though.
Was he full practice today? Okay, I thought he was limited. That's fine. It doesn't change my answer.
Okay.
Because what I'm telling you is you're
trying to push it that way.
No, you're fine. You're picking between 3 spots on my rankings, so I get the question. You're picking between flexes. It's definitely Terry McLaurin. And since it is PPR, I'm gonna go with Dobbs. But I'll tell you what, I hate giving the same advice 3 times in a row. But I'll tell you what I would do. if I would definitely play McLaurin no matter what, because I have to. I'm that person. And also Jahan Dotson's not playing this week. Curtis Samuel might not be playing this week because he's
dealing with an illness. But
I know, but he's sick and he hasn't practiced all week. I mean, that doesn't matter as much. It's not injury related, thank God. I saw him on the injury report, and I did what a lot of people did. I'm like, no, like I get why you immediately start typing like, but no, it's if I only needed a 10, Jason, if I was in that mode where I felt like I only needed a 10, I probably would play Connor because I feel like you're gonna get a 10, no matter what. But considering we can't know that, what I would do is I would probably play McLaurin and Dobbs because of the disaster that is going on around Dobbs in Green Bay. So it's just that's what I would do. But no, we're not gonna split that one. Okay, we have a few more coming in, but none of them are Thursday night. So I tell you what, we're gonna go back to Alexis because this individual has been waiting very patiently, and this is kind of a long thing. So I wanted to do this when we had a breath.
Can you see more of
the There is more, but I want people. Okay. This is why I waited, because this is a 2-parter, and it's long enough that it requires.
Does it scroll? How do we?
No, but it doesn't. But it doesn't. But I have to put this up in a second. So, Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, and Amon-Ra St. Brown in a 16 team league. Amon-Ra is injured, so can't go with Amon-Ra. So really, the way that I'm interpreting, right, he's likely out. So the way I'm interpreting the question is it sounds like we're being asked to name some sort of replacement. The question is a little hard to kind of pin down, but they've been waiting patiently, so I want to get them some kind of answer here. So I think we're being asked to produce some kind of waiver wire pickup is how I'm interpreting this, because it sounds like they're saying that they needed some sort of replacement for Amon-Ra St. Brown in a 16-team league. That's the way I'm interpreting the question that we're being asked. So Alexis, if you're still out there, ping us back, because I'll tell you if that is the question that you're asking, that for me, who I am interested very much so in picking up off the waiver wire, and it's funny because I've turned the corner on this player from years gone by, because I used to be on record saying that I didn't think he was very good, and over the last 2 years he's changed my mind, and it's Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds still available in under 50% of leagues, despite the fact that he put up a 20 plus in PPR last week. So if you are looking for an Amon-Ra St. Brown replacement, you don't even have to leave the team. I don't care that DJ Chark is probably also going to play this week. DJ Chark has done nothing.
And
nothing.
Josh Reynolds actually is good at football. I mean,
I don't know about that. Well, I'll say this. I used to think he was below replacement level in the NFL. I will say this. I have warmed up to the idea that Josh Reynolds is an actual NFL wide receiver and worthy of being on a roster and is a real professional NFL player. And and in that sense, he's a flex again. If Amon-Ra St. Brown, at a minimum, he's a flex, even with Chark coming back. So again, I'm more than happy to have you clarify this, Alexis.
Yeah.
But
and your other option is you could go watch the waiver wire show instead of watching this. You know.
That too.
I give plenty of options and throw out random names as well.
But so I kind of interpret the question as like, hey, what do I do? Do I trade one of these guys for depth? Do I trade him? Like, I don't know. I think that's kind of how I perceived it. Like that you just said, hey, like clarify this. Like, do you trade Devontae for 2, tier 3 wide receivers? Give yourself some more depth, especially with Amon-Ra St. Brown out. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what the team is, and 16-man team, like that's a pretty thin waiver wire. So I don't know if you can really bandage your team up.
It is going to be very, very thin in that way.
But yeah, if they want to respond back and kind of just like help us out here, that'd be great, and we'll certainly help.
All right, and friend of the show, Jose. Welcome back. And yes.
ROS. I mean, ROS, yes. I don't know.
Don't know about this individual game.
Don't know about this game.
I'm trying to get away from all Steelers this game. Not gonna lie.
Well, what I did in mine, I'll just tell you.
I'm not scared of Freiermuth.
I traded
catching jump offs over the middle.
I dropped Claypool for Pickens. Because
that's just smart. That's just smart roster management right there.
Okay.
I'm just telling you, that's what I did. I think Pickens will have opportunities in the future. I wouldn't play him this week, but
here's how I'll answer your question. I have George Pickens rated at 46.
Yeah, I mean he's a
low end flex.
I just want to let you
in
guys
deeper
know,
leagues you can flex him.
Nyheim Hines is already injured, so good thing.
Yes, we're actually having that reported as well. So this is part of also why we were trying to tell people not to play Nyheim Hines, and that's a shame because we like Nyheim Hines, the player overall. His situation is not ideal. He himself is a very good player, and I hope one day he gets to actually be a feature back in the NFL, but he will have to likely leave Indy to do it. But give that another year or two, and it'll probably happen.
All right. Another name outside of Josh Reynolds, fairly widely available, 6.6% roster currently, Wan'Dale Robinson. Training to play this week, had a limited practice, will likely be the starting slot for the Giants. So if that's another option you're looking on the waiver wire, that's where I'd be looking.
And thank you to everyone else who's reporting that Nyheim Hines already has a concussion and is leaving the game. We know, we're aware, we've covered it. We don't want to belabor the point. We're not here to do that. Like we're here to take questions and things like that, obviously. But it is a shame that happened to him, and we wish him well. Hopefully he can get healthy, and then better days will be ahead. Jose wants to clarify. Should I pick up Josh Reynolds and drop Pickens? Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I think it depends on your team.
No,
I think it depends. Here's what I would say. You talking about Jose? I know you're here. You're gonna type me, and you're gonna type it to me in a second. So I want context. Do you need him? Do you need a player for this week, or are you talking about rest of the season? Because I'm telling you right now, Josh Reynolds is if I need something to play Sunday. Mm-hmm. Pickens is if I need a wide receiver on a bench receiver for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. Like, if you're talking about rest of season, no, I would not drop Pickens to pick up Josh Reynolds. But if I need a player for Sunday because I'm trying to win that individual game, maybe. The problem is you're not going to get Pickens back.
Yeah.
That's
And it's going to
hard
get a
part.
little murky.
It's going to get expensive
gonna
too,
get-
even if you could get Pickens
But it's
back
going to
off
get
your
really
cap.
murky once, Jameson Williams gets in the mix. Amon-Ra St. Brown comes back. DJ Chark's still there. I know we kind of like.
Oh, I think once Amon-Ra St. Brown comes back, it just totally relegates a lot of it.
Exactly.
Like,
and
yeah.
Whereas Pickens could, I don't know because Deontay Johnson's still there. Pickens could be the wide receiver 1 on Pittsburgh, playing with Kenny Pickett. He could
this year, probably not.
could.
But I'd say,
but it's not out of the realm of possibility.
If that is your situation and you don't need a Band-Aid to play this week, then yes, I would hold on to Pickens because long term it's a better investment.
I agree with that.
So, hold on. Oh, you could only roster 4 wide receivers?
That is very strange.
I mean, not really. You see it pretty often more recently now that people are
but still
relegating
4,
how many
though.
you can have.
4.
4
Like
is
wide receiver is so vast that
Yeah,
I can't believe that
they're relegating you.
I've never heard that.
Either way, first of all, I feel like you wrote this just to brag about your other 3 wide receivers, and if so, kudos.
Well done.
I'm here for it. And second of all, if that's your team, you don't need Reynolds.
Yeah,
not relevant.
No,
not relevant to you. You don't need it at all. You'd only be rostering Reynolds to block somebody else from doing so. Do not drop Pickens for Reynolds if that's your team.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
Yeah. I'm going keep them coming. Keep the questions coming, folks. But I believe that's the majority of it. So, Thursday night game's already kicked off. Seems like it's off to a rip-roaring start, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, keep the questions coming. We will take them as they go. And in fact, here's one right here. As I say that, haven't heard much recently, but how much longer until Jameson Williams makes his debut? Probably week 10.
Oh, I was saying after the bye. I was thinking maybe week 7.
Oh, you think he's that close? I don't think he's that close. I don't think he's that close.
But the thing is, like, it could be 10. Like, the line's been really hush-hush about it. They don't need to rush him. They have a good crop of guys that they can rely on. So there's no need to bring him back earlier than they need to. I just feel like it would make sense to do it after the bye week 7, but that's a guess. Like, I have no idea.
If he's healthy enough, as you said, there's no reason to rush him back. The Lions aren't playing for anything this year.
But I haven't heard anything. Like Gus Edwards, Brian Robinson, guys that are on the PUP have like been designated to return, whereas
he
I've
has
heard nothing.
No, he hasn't been. And frankly, like, to be honest with you, there's a non-zero chance they shut him down for the entire season. And don't even bother. Because what's their incentive? If they don't feel good about, he's completely 100% ready to go at full speed, what's my incentive to even put him out here at all?
Yeah.
Give him a redshirt year. Like, so this is a tough one. This is why in the preseason I was advocating so hard for Jameson Williams in Dynasty for our Dynasty show, but not so much for redraft, because this is going to be the headache that you deal with, and you're going to tie up an IR slot on your team. It's a whole thing that I don't really want to live in that world if I can avoid it. So, but if he's available on your waiver wire, I totally get the question, because it's a tantalizing pickup at this point. Because when he gets out there, I expect him to carve out a role for himself. He would have been the number 1 wide receiver drafted, no question, had he not torn his ACL.
Yeah.
So nothing has changed about that. And with that,
Cortland Sutton in the red zone. Okay.
Cortland Sutton needs to get in the end zone. I'm starting.
That's kind of what I'm hoping.
In many leagues.
Jason's watching on a live stream where
I see that.
I am on a delay.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
I got the notification.
Mr. 3000 over here.
Yeah, I can't help myself.
Watching it on your watch.
All right. Well, I
can't
think
stay away from it.
Do we have a segment of the show where I can shame people for taking Colts plus 3.5? Because
go ahead, do it right now. You can shame them right now.
Why would you do that to yourself? Why do you like burning your money? Why do you hate yourself? You know the Michael Jordan commercial is like, stop it, get some help. That's me to you if you took Colts 3.5. That's just
my god.
And if this comes back to bite me in the you know what, I'm still gonna stick with it. I'm gonna double down because that was a stupid bet to make anyways. Anyways, I'm done.
Oh my god. Okay.
Well, and
thank you. Thank you
haven't already, you should definitely go and join our Discord, because I put my random bets for tonight's game on here.
Yeah, let me just say I am not professional. We have other people like Mason and Vishal doing that, but I kind of hope that they agree to the sentiment that there's not a good smart bet to make.
They definitely like that line. I I took the 3.5 that the Broncos had, as well as I'm pretty sure a Sutton touchdown and a Pittman touchdown probably, or Pierce. Oh, Pierce. That's my go-to.
All right. All right, there it is, folks. And with that, we're moving on. All right, we've answered all the questions in the chat. Everybody got a response. We're good to go.
Yep.
So, folks, for those of you who are still out there in TV land, keep asking questions. We'll stop what we're doing and we'll come right back to you. So if you have further questions and would like to discuss them, put them in the comments and we will answer them. Exactly. This is literally what we're here to do. And I will also point out, because I'm not only contractually obligated, but because I want to, go ahead and join us on our Discord for $1 a month. That gets you Discord access at this website, patreon.com/important nonsense. There's 3 levels, $1, $3, and $5. But even at the minimum level of $1, you can sign up to be a patron of ours. That gets you access to our Discord. On our Discord, we have a trade advice channel and a start sit channel that Jason, Jordan, myself, as well as the rest of our staff are
more than willing to weigh in on.
We're there every day. We're there every day answering questions. So you don't have to just we love it that people come to the show and ask us questions. But if you have questions throughout the week, you can ask them there and you will get an answer. It is guaranteed. You will get an answer. That is our commitment to you. To
I
all
also
of our
always give answers. Thank you very much.
Well, you will get an answer from someone at a minimum. There will be an answer. Like
you'll get it quicker here than you will on the app.
You will get it, and you will get it. You will get it quicker on the important nonsense than you would on the app, and even on this show because you have to wait a week. So if you need something, if you need help and you need it now, $1 a month. That's what it is. And I almost went full
cheaper
JG
than therapy.
No, it is cheaper than therapy. I also almost went with the JG Wentworth thing, but I think nobody under 30 is going to get that. Like so let's. All right, Thursday's already kicking off. Let's talk some games, gentlemen. Let's go through some injury reports. Let's get some takes going here. So I hate these London games. I'm so over it. Like I'm just so over it. Sorry. Now I'm doing my Jordan McDonald old man yells at clouds about.
You're not even up when I'm doing the start sit on Sunday mornings. Doing the I still am up doing it before this.
That's your own masochism problem that you got to deal with. I'm not doing that. Like I love our customers and our patrons, but I didn't sign up for that. Like that's insane. Like and I love the people of the United Kingdom, but adjust to us. This is our game, okay? Like it's all right. All griping there. All of my old man yells at clouds arguments aside, because I know no one cares. That's what's happening. It's London game number 2. Giants at Green Bay. Hilarious as that is. This is a nightmare for a number of different reasons. You've got on the Giants side, Daniel Jones dealing with a sprained ankle. Looks like he's trending towards playing, but hobbling around. That's not great for a guy that at some levels does rely on his mobility. Tyrod Taylor dealing with a concussion. None of this is good. No, none of it is good.
He did a limited practice, like 2 limited practices in a row. That's I don't understand.
No one does. I want to avoid this situation as much as possible because you're probably not starting either of those 2 individuals anyway. So that's a good thing. But it does matter for the skill position players such as they are. And within that, waiver wire darling Richie James did not live up to the hype last week, but some people are going back to the well here. I'm not, but some people are. And I think there are better options at this point, like Josh Reynolds, for example, who's still widely available in lots of leagues. Richie James limited in practice. The more interesting conversation, Jason, you touched on it earlier. Kadarius Toney and your boyfriend Wan'Dale Robinson. Where are you guys set up at for the wedding? Is that where's the registry? Can we put that up for the fans?
It was even coming into it because I thought for sure that Shepard would miss week 1, so I was really excited to have him then. Of course, he gets injured, and Shepard plays, which is just so frustrating. But
I'm just saying, you seem like a William Sonoma kind of couple, like really bougie, like just really bougie, like just that's it. Like La Crusade, a lot of that on the registry.
It's more Brooks Brothers, but it's fine.
Okay. This show has gone off the rails so aggressively already.
Well, it's also because of the fact that Kenny Golladay is just non-existent on that team anymore.
Speaking of Kenny Golladay, in addition to being non-existent, he's also not playing this week because he's now dealing with a sprained MCL.
Shocker.
Kadarius Toney also not at practice today. So you are going to be living in a world where your starting wide receivers for the Giants, such as they are going to be Richie James, David Sills the fifth, which didn't do anything either last week, and Wan'Dale Robinson.
There's nobody.
Daniel Bellinger's still there.
No, let's just cut to the
That's not a wide receiver.
Let's cut to the chase.
That's fair.
I specified that.
Saquon Barkley. Oh, wait.
No. Wait. Is there anybody besides Saquon that you are realistically starting for the Giants?
No.
Exactly.
And that's
They don't even have a quarterback. I mean, why?
No, and I will say Wan'Dale Robinson, interesting name for the waiver wire and for the back of your bench. Beyond that, I'm not interested. Also for Dynasty. Yeah, don't start.
Yeah.
Not this week. No.
And now we'll talk about the Packers. There's no relevant injury things for the Packers. You will have all of your Packers, such as they are. And in reality, you are probably starting the bulk of the Packers that you have. Maybe not Aaron Rodgers, but you are probably starting, based on how your team likely works, you are probably starting Aaron Jones. You are maybe starting A.J. Dillon still, depending on what your running back situation looks like. If you were one of those people that hit the lottery and got Dillon and Hall, then play Hall. But also post your team. I'd love to see it. Good evening, Polo.
Hey,
welcome in.
Friend of the show.
This is one of the highlights of my week is talking to Polo. Actually, is as far as the Packers go, you're going to have all your Packers. You're probably starting your Packers, such as they are, and we're talking about certain situations where you're even potentially playing Dobbs. Dobbs has moved into flex consideration, so
over Dillon.
Interesting situation there. The Packers should absolutely house the Giants here, and if this game was being played in America, I think the line would be even more aggressive. Such as it is, they're giving the Packers -8. So, the only Giant you're starting is Saquon, and with that, I think we'll just leave that where it lies. Next on the docket, you've got Chargers at Browns. Don't really like West Coast team traveling east for the early game. That's an interesting thing. We've covered it several times. I'll say it one last time, and we're going to move on from it. Keenan Allen is likely not playing in this game. It makes Mike Williams very interesting. As far as the rest of it, the only other really relevant note for the Chargers is Gerald Everett was added to the injury report with a hamstring injury. You don't love that. So, and
especially on a Thursday.
Well, especially as tight end is, you were probably starting Gerald Everett because tight end is that bad. So you may have to be looking for some streaming tight end options, which we will provide to you a little bit later in the show. But be aware of that situation if you've been writing Everett to this point. Everything else is pretty much not super fantasy relevant. As far as the Browns go, there's nothing really fantasy relevant to report. They're all pretty much healthy, including David Njoku and Amari Cooper, who both returned to practice today. Not worried about anything. You should have all your Browns. And is there anything else to even talk about in that game? I think that's about it.
I'm curious to see the Salyer and Garrett matchup. I'm curious to see how that's going to end up working out, but that's not anything.
All right. Note from the resident Chargers fan. Perfect. Steelers at Bills in. Go do something else rather than watch this game.
Well, look at the line.
Yeah, why bury the lead? The line is -14 Buffalo.
Woof.
That's a line.
Which is why
folks.
we like Davis so much.
That's a line, folks. The main note: the Steelers have announced earlier this week they are starting Kenny Pickett over Mitchell Trubisky moving forward. That's not really a shock. This was going to happen at some point. We're maybe 2 weeks ahead of my initial projection before Mitchell Trubisky would inevitably get the hook. At some point, Mitch will be back to wearing a baseball cap somewhere else in his natural environment as the true backup that he is, says the jaded Bears fan. I
don't understand why they're doing it to Pickett this week. Like, let Trubisky
you already put him in. You made that.
I know
you've already made your
Bills.
decision. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a continuity thing, Jason. You don't, and it's also a fan pressure thing. People think the fans don't have any flex on this. They do.
Die.
Well, he's not going to die. I find it very likely that he'll actually die. So I think it'll be okay.
I do have a question about the Steelers.
Go ahead.
Where do you have Najee Harris ranked this week?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because I have seen I have seen him very, very low in rankings this week.
Well, he's not being used the way we thought he would. I have it 16. I have him at 16.
Okay.
I have him
Yeah,
at 20.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
have seen a lot of him in the 20s. I saw him 24, and man, that's tough. That's a first round pick.
Yeah,
And,
and I'm not there yet, but considering where he was, he was borderline top 5 preseason.
yeah,
Even to go to 16 is a huge drop.
yeah.
So Najee Harris is one of those where you're going to get put in a situation where you're either going to have to sell low, which I don't love doing and really don't recommend, or you're just going to have to ride it out. And
I would try if you don't have him, see what you can get for him. See if you could buy low on Najee Harris.
depends how low.
But it depends how low. And I'm not saying he's gonna have like a substantial end of his season, but if he does, and you can get,
I'd love to see those trades. And for $1, you can post them to us on Discord, and we will. I personally actually will probably sit down and break them apart with you. I'd love to see them because I'd love to see what the market is as far as the general public goes. That would actually be interesting for something that I know someone is writing for us in the background. Spoilers. But the only other Pittsburgh note that actually is fantasy relevant: Deontay Johnson, limited practice today, dealing with a minor hip thing. Shouldn't affect his availability for Sunday. Not afraid of it. The Bills, we covered this earlier in the show, so I'm going to whip through it quick. Gabe Davis, full participant, getting back. Jamison Crowder, season's probably over. Might be his career. Pour one out for Jamison Crowder. We love Jamison Crowder here at Important Nonsense. It's a shame that is what happened to him with a broken ankle.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Multiple injuries now, and he's a veteran, and I say that rather than saying that he's just old. But he's such a nice guy, and he's such a good role player, but that might be the end of it. So Isaiah Mckenzie still in the concussion protocol, yet to be cleared. They're letting him practice in a limited manner in a red no contact jersey. It is not a guarantee Isaiah McKenzie is going to be out there on Sunday, folks. He got a lot of ground to cover between now and then. They might sit him down. Similarly, Dawson Knox.
Because of the whole situation with Tua, I expect these to take a lot longer now.
They are not just waving people through the concussion protocol right now because of the giant lawsuit that we also talked about earlier in the show that is inevitably going to get levied at some point here. And then Dawson Knox, same thing. Dawson Knox has not practiced at all Wednesday or Thursday. There's no realistic chance I could recommend putting Dawson Knox in your lineup. I don't think he's going to get suited. I think he's going to be ruled out anyway. So this is why we've been talking about Gabe Davis a lot during this show. Gabe Davis is finding himself getting healthy at the right time, folks. I know that, they're going to have Jake Kumaro out there doing stuff at a certain level, but I ain't afraid of that. So
no, they won't.
Yeah.
He went to IR.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Even better. Well, actually, that's not what I mean. Not what I mean.
Not the delivery you wanted there.
Not the delivery I want. If you're rostering Gabe Davis, that's good news. It is bad news in every other sense of that news. So that is unfortunate for Jake Kumaro. And that's really it, folks. You're gonna. Other than that, the Bills are getting beat up. So they're getting a lot of their role players are getting nicked up here.
Singletary though.
Yeah. Well, other than that, there's not really too much to go through for that game. That game's a laugher. So we'll go to another laugher. Bears on the road at the Vikings. Vikings -7 should be higher. Only note for the Bears is that against all odds, David Montgomery logged a limited practice this week. I don't think they're going to let him go out there. At least
I'm hoping they don't.
I'm hoping they don't too. I don't think I could justify starting him even if they did. I would have to be really desperate because he's way ahead of the timetable to even be returning to limited practice. He should be out for at least another week. And they're letting him get back out there.
That's how I had it. At least 2 weeks out.
Yeah, and it's nuts that he's actually, what is he, Wolverine? Like, I don't understand how he's already getting back out there.
No way he has adamantium in there.
You don't know that.
Or vibranium if you're in the MCU.
That's true. That's true.
Because they weren't allowed to use adamantium.
Right.
There's a little MCU fact.
Don't say we don't cover a lot of ground here.
Total
folks.
nerds here, guys. Don't worry about it. That's why we're here.
Yeah. I agree. It is hilarious. Fun fact about this: we used to have a Friday show. This is now the Friday show that we have moved forward, Mike.
Yeah.
We have this show on Thursdays, and then we do have another show coming up right after this for all the gamblers out there locked in,
which Jason will be on.
Yeah,
right. And then that's right, we do, and then we do have another gambling show on Friday. I'm taking this as a fantasy football question, but we do have a sports betting gambling show on Fridays. And then I was thinking more for fantasy football. For our pure fantasy football content, come back on Monday for the waiver wire show, also with Jason.
Or Sunday, you can hop on my Twitter space.
Yeah. So those are
I
the
starts it all morning.
that's the high level of our show count here. The That's really it as far as the Bears go. And then the Vikings, everybody's healthy. Cook's not even on the injury report.
Yep. Cook's
Told
gonna
everybody
eat.
they were overreacting to that shoulder thing. He just has a bad shoulder.
I
That's
got
what
a
it
lot.
is.
I got a lot of trade requests, like for me trading for Dalvin Cook this week. I was actually shocked,
Yeah.
and I don't know why. Because he played fine. Like he didn't have a great stat line, but he had like 20 carries.
Yeah, he's still getting the usage. It is what it is.
So I don't know why people are panicking.
We tried to warn people. He had that same injury a couple years ago, and he put up 200 yards rushing.
Yeah.
With the sling on. And I'm like, if there's anybody that I'm not worried about having a shoulder injury at this point, it's Dalvin Cook. He plays through it all the time. Yeah. And honestly, I think it's just a chronic problem with his shoulder at this point.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be that way forever. He's not
arthritis.
A young man. Yeah, he's not a young man. He's like my age.
James
so
Crowder age.
Oh. Yeah, I'm getting there. Lions, Patriots. Could actually be a fun game. Weirdly.
This
in a weird way.
Matt Patricia revenge game.
Yeah, Matt Patricia revenge game.
Who cares?
This is listed as DeAndre Swift is already out. He's not technically out yet, but he's trending towards being out. It's more than likely that he will be out because the original timeline they gave was they were going to sit him down for 2 weeks, catch the bye, and then bring him back in week 8. So he's right on line for that. Also, he had this broadly similar injury last year to his shoulder, and they shut him down for like 4 weeks. And there's no incentive for them to bring DeAndre Swift back earlier than they need to. They understand that he's their future. They're not playing for a playoff spot this year. They're not going to do anything to get him hurt. And also, that is literally the point of why they have Jamal Williams, which is why in the preseason, I was pounding the table for if you're going with Swift as your running back, and you have to get Williams. It's one of the few must-handcuff situations in the NFL.
Yep.
So, but Swift likely not going to play. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown also has not practiced at all this week. I would find it very hard to believe for similar reasons to DeAndre Swift. What is the incentive to put Amon-Ra St. Brown out there if he's not totally healthy?
None.
I can't think of one. So this is why we've been talking so much Reynolds. And I think that's what you're going to see. I think they're going to give Amon-Ra St. Brown another week. They're going to give DeAndre Swift another week. And then frankly, they might give them both all the way to the bye. What's their incentive to do anything different? Anybody got a counter argument?
Are you starting all of your Lions?
I wouldn't say all of them.
Not all. What do you mean by all?
Goff, Reynolds, Williams.
Goff situational.
Hawkinson.
Williams is a must start. Hawkinson's a must start, as we saw last week with those guys out. I'm starting Reynolds. There's no universe where I'm playing DJ Chark until he does something. It's not all.
I am playing Chark just because I am very thin at wide receiver on that team. But yeah, I feel like, you're right. Reynolds seems like the better play. And who would have thought that?
Reynolds was a borderline top 20 play last week.
Yeah. So.
Like it's and again, I've warmed up to him considerably because my historical take was not super positive. So it's interesting. But yeah, I think you're going to be without Amon-Ra St. Brown, no DeAndre Swift. So it's getting a little thin with the Lions, but there's no reason for them to rush anybody back. Similarly on the Patriots, who's playing quarterback for the Patriots? Might be Mac Jones. He's dealing with a high ankle sprain. Limited practice so far. We can tell you it's not Brian Hoyer because Brian Hoyer was put on IR today with a pretty serious head injury. And unfortunately, I called it live when we were watching the game where I'm like, that's it. Like, if that's how you're going to protect 40-year-old Brian Hoyer's blindside, he's not going to be around too long. So that's how that went down. And then Bailey Zappi, as I said, Madden created character. Bailey Zappi looked serviceable. He got bailed out by a couple of critical calls, but looked serviceable. I think if Mac Jones can play, they're going to have Mac Jones play. But if he isn't at all unavailable, they will go to Bailey Zappi because their only other quarterback is Garrett Gilbert. The real question here is because you're not starting any of that at quarterback. We say all that to inform the rest of the Patriots that you might actually be playing. So within that, Jonnu Smith also likely not playing. Is there anyone on the Patriots that you feel good about?
I know you don't like it. You've established that. I like the running backs. I really do. I think that they're gonna have value this week because like how else? I don't know if Bailey like he looked okay against Packers. He looked okay.
Let me ask you this question.
Yep. Go ahead.
Which running back do you like? Pick one.
Well, we're split.
Okay, then tell me how you see it. Where do you guys see the running backs? How does the split work? Where do you have them ranked? Like, how does that work?
I honestly like there's like legitimately, and I hate sitting on the fence, but I'm gonna have to because I don't know because it seems like Harris gets more of the carries, and it seems like Ron Stevenson goes out there to pass block, and he's a good dump off option, especially for a quarterback like Zappi making his first career start.
It's his first career start. Yeah,
and it seems like, but that's it though. Let me just say that's it. No Hunter Henry. Don't trust any of the wide receivers. I know Jacoby Myers might be coming back this week.
That's dubious. He
might. I'm not saying he will. I said he might. We don't have anything here. I don't know what his practice reports have been.
It's still very unclear. We didn't even list it for that reason.
So, but anyways, even if he is playing, I'm not playing him. I'm not playing any pass catcher. The running backs I will consider because they love the run game. They seem committed to the run game, regardless of games, regardless who's at quarterback. And I think there's value there. I really do. I think either one is flex value. If I had to pick one or the other, it depends on the league. It really does.
Okay. I will agree with you that they are both flexes.
Yeah.
I will agree with
Nothing
you.
Nothing more. Like I'm going to be realistic because like I don't think that I think.
Yeah, I want to make sure we're not talking about that they're both RB2s or some nonsense. That's what. But I will concede they are both flexes. Couldn't tell you which one will get the lion's share, but they're flexes.
No I still think it's Harris.
You get it? No, it was very much intended. You get it?
Yeah.
You get it?
Oh, I got
it. You get it? Yeah.
The only other option, because of the wasteland that is tight end, I would be looking at Henry.
Maybe.
That's the only other. I mean, just because Johnny potentially being out.
I know, but Johnny
Myers potentially being out, potentially being a rookie quarterback. I love when they have that.
You make good points. No, you do. You make good points. I just they both been non-existent, and I'd be scared.
Yeah,
to play them.
I would have
to be pretty desperate.
It's never good that I have to scroll this far to find the highest rated New England wide receiver that I have. I'm literally still scrolling. Like, okay, it's Devontae Parker at 53. Yes, you're not playing any of the wide receivers, and with Hunter Henry, because he has been brutal with a capital B.
Well, because they split with Jonnu.
He split with Jonnu last year, and it wasn't this brutal. Yeah, I'm probably not playing Hunter Henry either. You probably have better options. Maybe with Jonnu getting ruled out, maybe. I kind of want him to prove it.
Caveat, but yeah.
I kind of want him to prove it to me for a week. So I'd say it's just the running backs. I'd argue that both running backs, Stevenson and Harris, are flexes.
Yeah, I have.
And beyond that, I'm not starting anything at the Patriots.
I have Harris at 25 because I assume he gets a touchdown, and I have Stevenson at 30.
Yeah, that's not crazy.
I agree.
I can't. Yeah, I can't.
And those are both flex. Right.
Flexes. They're flex. No, they're flexes.
Yeah,
they're flexes. I get it. Yeah, they're flexes. So okay, and then that's what an injury-riddled game. But we'll move on from it. We've got Seahawks at the Saints. Saints -4 on the open. You're gonna have just about all your Seahawks. Rashad Penny missed practice on Wednesday. Not worried about it. Return to practice. Seems like a pretty minor load management, to use a basketball term, type of day. Saints is much more interesting. Jameis Winston has again not practiced all week with the back injury. Michael Thomas has again not practiced all week with the foot injury, which we were told was no big deal. So now
it's a toe. He has a toe boo-boo.
Okay, you can phrase that way if you want, but I'm not. I refuse to say that into a camera on a recorded line. So you can say that if you want. I saw how you wrote it, and I intentionally didn't read it that way. And I'm calling this out for posterity for the inevitable lawsuit. Michael, call me. He's defaming your character. We can take him for everything he's got.
It's definitely a toe injury, but yeah, it's. I hate toes. Toes. Too many small bones. No. Mm-mm.
If you're a podiatrist, get at us at importantnonsense.com. I got a job for you. Edwin, call me. Got another job for you. But yeah, the Saints, no Winston, likely no Winston again, likely no Thomas. You're probably going to be dealing with Andy Dalton and the Taysom Hill Wildcat experience again. Whatever. And no Thomas. So Alvin Kamara, though, He himself has said that he will be playing. So take that for what it's worth. So
could be a worse matchup.
So there we go. So you're gonna have him back. Jason, I know you're all in on the Olave train. I'm gonna join you there this week because he's just the target share is too much when Michael Thomas isn't on the field. I think Jordan's gonna agree with us on that as well.
Absolutely.
You're gonna have to play Kamara. You drafted him as such.
You have to.
You're gonna have to do it, and you're gonna have to play Olave more than likely. I can't think of any other Saint that I'm interested in. I will
say, if we were talking last game about Hunter Henry, I'd rather play Taysom Hill because I'd like Taysom.
I would agree with that too. If I had to pick between Hunter Henry and Taysom Hill straight, I also go with Taysom Hill. It's the carries, right, Jordan?
It's the goal line carries.
Yeah.
You had one last week, a touchdown.
Yeah.
At the goal line. You got your 8 points. It's better than most of what you can get off the heap of the.
That's what I'm saying. My issues with Taysom Hill historically have been the fact that they want to roster him at quarterback. If he's going to play tight end, that's a whole different thing, whole different animal. Like totally different. I'm fine with it if we're doing that. But Jason, I know you have something you want to talk about Saints related, so I'll let you do your thing.
Yeah,
there.
And it's really not fair, but I can't start the Saints defense. They're my defensive hit of the week. Coming back from London, they've had some really good matchups where they should have showed up and didn't. I mean, and they haven't gone over 6 fantasy points this year. So I see no reason in starting them, but a lot of people have them in the top 12, which I get. I just don't see it, as well as the fact that Geno Smith is playing better than Russell Wilson did last year. Like, comparing the two is just mind-blowing. Geno Smith is playing very well. DK Metcalf and Lockett are both getting a lot of usage, and even the running backs look good. This team is weird at how successful they're being fantasy-wise.
I will give you that. It is weird. It is weird. It's not the most scientific measure, but yes. By the way, that's actually fascinating that nobody came through for you, Jose, on that. Try again would be my thought.
Top running back, I guess.
Give us some names. Throw some names out there on who you're.
I bet you could even get like Cook plus something for Jefferson.
He might. Let's let him. We'll let him type, and then we'll put it up. Should you drop Boone to pick up Reynolds?
Yes. If you can.
RB Reynolds.
But can you even do that?
Oh, yeah. Wait, RB Reynolds. Whoa.
I think he means Reynolds. Craig Reynolds.
Yeah.
I'm reading this.
But is Boone locked? Is
Boone I think he means locked. Obviously, you can't do it because Boone's already locked now.
Yeah.
And by the way, just for posterity, this question was written after Boone would have already been locked anyway.
I want to say no. I'm gonna say no, because Boone.
I'm not dropping Boone to pick up Craig.
Yeah, because Boone's gonna have value this season with Javonte Williams out. Reynolds is going to be irrelevant once DeAndre Swift comes back, and I don't think
which will be in about 2 weeks.
Yeah,
exactly.
And they also have a bye next week.
Exactly.
Right. So it'll be about 2 weeks, and then that doesn't matter.
So anymore. I would not do that.
I'd hold Boone, and even though I don't think Boone is that great, I'd hold Boone. I see. So you were looking for Breece Hall or Saquon. Saquon, I kind of get. The Saquon one, I get. The Hall one is insanity.
Yeah, whoever.
I love Breece Hall. I have so many Breece Hall shares, and I would absolutely have been handing him. I absolutely would have handed you Breece Hall immediately and not even questioned it. First of all, I think, by the way, if you're trying to trade Justin Jefferson for Breece Hall, you are way overpaying for Breece Hall.
Yeah.
As much as I like him, there's no way I'm doing that.
Add an asset.
You could have traded a much lesser wide receiver or even 2 players to get Breece Hall, or just should have been able to.
Yeah.
Clearly, this individual has high expectations for Breece Hall. The Saquon Barkley one, I kind of get.
Yeah.
Now,
because
if you're looking,
he is the offense right now.
Yeah, and that's probably not going to change. And if he was to get hurt, then the Giants are just dead anyway, and it's not none of it's relevant at that point. But this is probably the right call, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're talking about PPR or half point PPR. I'm assuming it's one or the other.
Doesn't
even standard.
Okay, I don't know standard because I don't really pay attention to that. But in half point, even Steve is right when he calls standard no point. It's true. It's the worst format. Fight me, all the standard people. That's the worst format. And the thing about Jefferson is, even in half point PPR, if you remove quarterback, Justin Jefferson's the number 5 total point scorer so far this season, and even in half point with quarterback removed. And in PPR, it's about the same. So
and that's
and he would be number 1, but he had a down week.
Yeah,
right. He had one bad week.
Putting up a dud against the Eagles, we had
right with one bad
5
game.
points.
So honestly, if you were talking about trying to trade for a running back, Saquon probably would be the top of the tree, because if you're talking about current running back projections, Saquon Barkley is probably number 1 at the moment. Nick Chubb is
It's coming
way
close with
high.
Chubb, Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, Nick Chubb. I'm talking about rest of the season. Nick Chubb is the number 1 point scorer right now. I'm talking about if you had to look at rest ROS, you really thinking Nick Chubb's going to finish as the number 1 running back rest of the season? Because I don't agree.
No.
I'm not doing that. I won't go there with you. But I think your names that you would realistically be entertaining for CMC for Justin Jefferson is CMC, Saquon, maybe Chubb, but I don't really like Chubb.
Assuming you're going 1 for 1.
Probably, yeah, assuming you're going 1 for 1. But that's probably about it. Honestly, it's not a long list.
But if you're kind of looking to drop somebody, I mean, if I would look at the guy who has like Josh Jacobs or Dalvin Cook, or I mean, I would say Breece Hall, but you already tried that, so that didn't work out.
Yeah,
But you
honestly,
need another piece coming back.
This is the right answer.
Yeah, it is. Like I don't know why. I don't know why we keep.
We're moving on. That's why. Because we've got Lamb versus Ramsey, or Curtis Samuel versus the 28th ranked pass defense PPR. Thomas, we covered some of this earlier. There's one thing I'll tell you.
Caveat.
If Curtis Samuel is playing is your issue, because Curtis Samuel is currently sick. He's not hurt. He's sick. But there's a decent chance he might not be playing this week. He seems pretty sick.
Yeah,
so
2 days is pretty rough.
We're going to have to wait and see on this conversation, because you might not have a choice. I can tell you based on my rankings, though, that I do have CD Lamb lower than normal this week because of the bad matchup. And even with that, it's still going to be Lamb.
Yeah, I understand the hesitancy, but
Jalen Ramsey hasn't been Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, and like Samuel, like we don't know what's going on there. I would do the safer option. You drafted Lamb early. You stick with your guys. Like I still think we're in the territory where you play your studs unless you see otherwise. That's where I would go with it.
Yeah. All right, we need to keep moving here. So keep those questions coming, folks. But we gotta hustle. Dolphins, Jets. The Dolphins is a mess. We already covered Tua. It's gonna be a while. Jalen Waddle did come back to practice on Thursday, looking like he's gonna be good to go. Tyreek Hill has a quad injury, limited in practice, but he still finished practice. I'm not too worried about it. Anybody worried about that? I think you're gonna have your full complement.
It really just depends on how well Bridgewater plays with them, but I'm not too worried that
which is why they're going 3.5 points for Dolphins
right.
instead of.
Well, no, I get that, but I'm talking about your receivers, like your Waddle, your Hill. What is
You're
the
really
reasonable
only playing Hill at this
expectations?
point.
And then
I hated the target share for Waddle last week.
Well, I'm still playing Waddle. I don't know about that.
You can't not play Waddle becomes the issue. You're gonna have weeks like this with the Dolphins. You're gonna have 1 week where Waddle has a 25.
Yeah.
And this happened earlier in the year when they were both healthy. And Tyreek had a down game. And then you got Tyreek puts up a 30 or whatever last week, and there's not enough for Waddle. This has been the issue with the Dolphins going back to the preseason. They do not generate enough pass attempts to really put both of those guys as high as they were being drafted. Sorry. Mm-hmm. But they're both very high ceiling, which is how you get away with it. It's just not. It is what it is. And then for the Jets, you're going to have all your Jets unless something terrible happens. But as we sit here right now, you're going to have all your Jets. Jason, I know you want to talk about Breece Hall. Talk about Breece Hall.
Yeah, he's my RB start of the week again because I liked him last week. I mean, hard not to. But Miami is currently ranked the 6th best defense against the running back. Scary, I understand that, but it's boosted by the fact that they played the Patriots week 1 and then the Ravens week 2 without Dobbins. So they gave up 24.1 fantasy points to Singletary and 17.4 to Joe Mixon and the Bengals. So I think this is a great option. He's going to get a lot of carries. Expect last week with Wilson, first week, 15.8 fantasy points. Reason I started him. He was my start of the week last week. It's hard not to like him. And this year hasn't been below 10 fantasy points, averaging 13.53 fantasy points. And he's only scored 2 touchdowns this year in 5 games.
It's targets. He's getting so many targets.
Well,
it's
he
really
was.
Hard to, even last week, he didn't get as many, and he still got a ton for changing from quarterbacks. Like, it's still a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go with you on that. We talked about it earlier. Breece Hall's arrows pointing up. Falcons, Bucks. What a mismatch. Bucks -8. For the Falcons, Cordarrelle Patterson hit the IR. He will be reactivated later this year. It'll probably be 4 to 6 weeks would be my estimate. Kyle Pitts has not practiced Wednesday or Thursday. If he cannot play, look for the Drake London mega game. I have Drake London as a wide receiver 2 based on the premise that I do not believe that Kyle Pitts is playing. Yeah, well, if Kyle Pitts isn't playing, you tell me.
Oh, sorry. You mean like a second wide receiver? I thought you said you have him as your.
No.
I was like, no.
I have him at 23. He's a wide receiver 2.
Okay. Sorry, I misheard that.
No, you're good. But with no Patterson and no Pitts, it's Drake London's show.
No, I agree.
And there are some interesting names to look at on the waiver wire if you're looking for depth running back. Not my cup of tea per se, but go look at it if you're looking for running back, because they got a couple guys in Atlanta that they'll get some run. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be kind of a mess though. And then on the other side of the ball, Cole Beasley retires from the NFL. We wish you well. Tom Brady got a rest day and then came back. So not worried about that. Cameron Brate's not playing in this game, as we talked about, due to the concussions. They haven't ruled him out officially yet, but wait for it. It's coming. And then finally, what the fans have all been waiting for. Julio Jones returns to practice. So does Chris Godwin. So Bucks should
Chris Godwin looked like good last week, so I'm excited for him.
He did. Every time he gets hit, I cringe. Every time he gets hit, I'm like, if I'm rostering Chris Godwin, I can't watch the Bucks games. I just got to put him in my lineup and then go do something else. Because every time he gets any kind of contact, I'm like, stay down. Just don't do anything. Like it's terrifying. So that's your game as it relates to that. We did get a couple more questions here. Thomas has a follow-up. If not Curtis Samuel, then Lamb or Dobbs. For me, it's easy. It's Lamb.
Still Lamb.
Yeah,
still Lamb.
I mean, especially
you're actually going the wrong direction.
Yep.
Yeah, you're actually going the wrong way. You're not getting closer to Lamb. You're going further away. And what to do with Henderson Jr. Cry? My answer is going to be cry.
I mean, really, either Ram running back at this point, you're just crying and hoping for the best.
You know what? Like, I would feel better
really
about having Henderson than it would have been being Akers, because Akers you spent a stupid pick on, whereas Henderson you got in the 10th, 11th round.
Yeah.
And you're getting what you got. Like, it was optimistic in week 1 where you thought Henderson was going to run away with the job, and now it's kind of split. I'm pretty sure Jose asked us this last week.
He did.
Recall quickly. Like I said, if you can get something for him, do it. If you can't, I would be okay just holding him and just have him there in case Akers gets hurt.
My point is, you're talking about.
Perfect. That's exactly what we're talking about.
I'm saying you're talking about the running back 40 at this point in Henderson. So it's like, what does that translate to in wide receiver? Like maybe you can get Corey Davis.
Ooh, I don't
Probably
even know about that.
waivers.
I'd still want Henderson.
Yeah. Maybe you could get Devontae Parker. Maybe you could get Allen Robinson and trade problems if that floats your boat more. Maybe you could get Darnell Mooney, who's looked terrible. That
better last week.
That I actually would probably do if I could get that done.
Yeah, Jason's right.
If they throw him more than 20 times.
Yeah, well, that's the question.
Correct.
A lot of people do, but I don't subscribe to that idea. But it's a commonly held belief. I get it. But we'll keep the questions coming. We'll keep piping them in. But for now, we're gonna go Titans at Commanders. Gross. What a gross football game this will be. They're giving it -2.5 to the Titans, even though they're the road team. Shows you what Vegas thinks of the Commanders at this moment. Treylon Burks has been diagnosed with turf toe. His disappointing start to his career. Fortunately, he's not going to get better anytime soon. If he plays this week, I'll eat my own hat. That is not happening.
Well, it's a Cubs hat, so probably a good idea anyway.
Yeah, well, it's pretty gross too. I wear it golfing. That's why it's turned around. But Jason, I know you wanted to talk about the Titans.
Oh yeah, I mean, looking at starts of the week, I have 2 here, and the first one is Robert Woods. Without Treylon Burks, he's going to have a great matchup in the secondary that is the Washington Commanders. Like, they give up 31.5 fantasy points to the wide receiver. It's a second best matchup because, of course, behind only Houston. And so Woods is the clear number 1. Volume's going to be there. The other option is I'm going to the defense for the Titans because Carson Wentz likes to turn over the ball. I mean, that's really what it comes up to. Wentz has giving away 5 interceptions and a fumble. So, it's tough for Wentz to just have a decent knowledge of what's going on in the game. He seems completely lost out there.
That's about as nice as you can be.
Yeah.
I'm trying, man.
Pretty nice.
But you know what? He can throw the ball like crazy, and he's going to have to. Granted, the Titans really just like to control the ball, and I think this is an easy start for you to play the Titans this week.
Yeah, I agree with both of those. I will just say, like, I don't know if we'll see turnovers. I think it's possible, but I think it's going to be low scoring. A lot of stymied offense on the Commanders' part.
42 point over under.
And then the Titans just playing, smart football, control the clock. I'm a little worried about Woods for that, but I agree just because they have nobody else. That would be a good start.
I like the Woods take. I'm avoiding the Titans defense because I just don't believe in it. I understand it's a good matchup, but that defense is pathetic. So I'm just going to stay far away because, frankly, there are better options that I would rather deal with that are widely available, like the Vikings or Jacksonville, both with really good matchups that are just widely available. So I would rather do that if I'm looking for a streaming defense than the Titans. Commanders, we've covered this several times, so I'm not really going to cover it again. But at this point, Jahan Dotson not playing, Curtis Samuel in danger of not playing, not because of injury, because of illness, which is material. And Brian Robinson got his 21-day activated window. We do not expect to see him this week. But with that, we'll go to the next game. Texans at the Jags. Jags -7. That's actually a very polite line to the Houston Texans because it should probably be higher. But maybe it's because it's a division game. The Texans, there's nothing really to note. They're going to have all their players such as they are, and you kind of know what it is. As an aside, I would be trying to trade Brandon Cooks as hard as I could after that game he just had. That is not going as well as it did last year, but that's a whole other conversation. Yeah. As it relates to Jacksonville, Jason, I know you had some notes that you wanted to get into as it relates to the Jags.
Well, and we kind of touched on it too. Again, QB start of the week, Trevor Lawrence, currently the 15th best quarterback in fantasy, averaging 15.69 fantasy points, going against the 9th best team against quarterback. Granted, it just blows me away that that's the case. I think it's just because it's been low scoring. Colts in week 1, Broncos week 2, Chicago week 3. Yikes. So it's definitely, I think it's just because of the fact that they've played very confused offenses, and I think the Jaguars are not that. They are going to be putting up good numbers this week, and I'm excited for them to get back on track after the unfortunate loss that they took last week against the Eagles. This is definitely a bounce back game, and it's going to be amazing. I'm excited for them.
Okay. All right. No, I get it. I get the excitement. By the way, Thomas wants one more clarifier here on this. For upside flex, Gabe Davis, Alan Lazard, Dobbs, Curtis Samuel if healthy. For me, I'll go first because I have it right in front of me. Curtis Samuel, if he's healthy, is my choice. I am 100% going with that if he is playing. And then if we cannot get confirmation that Curtis Samuel is playing, I am going with Dobbs.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my rankings.
I'm really surprised.
Third choice, Gabe Davis.
Okay, that's where I would go next. Yeah. It's Samuel and then Davis.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Jason on this. Actually, I'm gonna go Samuel Davis.
You're arguing about two spots in my ranking.
Yeah.
We already covered this briefly, so I just wanted to touch on it because it was asked. And this was the right call, by the way, Jose. That problem's not going to get better anytime.
Well, how upsetting! Like I am really upset.
What a waste of money.
Well, I told people to drop him week 2.
Well, this is what I don't get. He played 99% of the snaps.
Well, he's going to play all the snaps. The problem is they got no way to take the top off the defense. They're trying to use him to do that, but they're not supposed to be doing that. He's supposed to be doing the Robert Woods role. So we don't have time. We're running out of time.
It's a clusterfuck.
Longer conversation on that in future weeks, but that's where we are right now. 49ers Panthers. At the Panthers doesn't matter. The odds makers are giving 49ers -5 anyway. You will have all of your normal 49ers for this, so nothing to note on the injury report. But Jason, I know you wanted to talk about George Kittle.
Yep, my set of the week. Kind of touched on it earlier again. He hasn't seen more than 5 targets. Granted, it's 2 games, but they hold the ball a lot. They run it a lot. In the 2 games, he's caught 6 receptions on 9 targets, 52 yards, and on the year, he's only put up 11.2 fantasy points. Panthers are tied for 17th and allow 6 fantasy points to the tight end, which again is about right. I'm assuming that he's under 8 is where I'm going for Kittle this week. Is his ceiling in my mind is 8 fantasy points. A lot of Wilson being used. It's terrifying.
Yeah, Kittle's been utterly disappointing this season.
He has to block.
They're using him to block. It's frustrating, but it is what it is. And
eventually he will have his massive game, and
but I feel like if you drafted Kittle as your top tight end this season, you probably already had another option because he was gone the first 2 weeks. Whoever that may be, you're probably better off starting that player if you found somebody.
Yeah, you just because it's tight end being such a nightmare, you might not be in a position to sit Kittle. I totally get it. If you
that's true.
And then as it relates to the Panthers, no real notes here. You will have all of your Panthers such as they are. But Jason, I know you wanted to talk about one of the Panthers wide receivers real quick.
Yeah, because again, I said it last week. I'm going back to the well this week. I'm still setting DJ Moore. It's the 6th best defense against the wide receiver going this week. And it's terrifying. I mean, this offense doesn't know what it's doing. It's like I said, last week, 12.1 fantasy points, like against the Cardinals. Like it blows me away. 6 catches, 50 yards, 1 carry for 11 yards. He put up 61 yards. You're lucky that he saw as many targets as he did. It's brutal. And that's what you're expecting for his upside is 12.1 fantasy points. That's terrifying.
So I have
so many better options.
I have a next level take on this too, because it has to do with like his ADOT, and it also has to do largely with Baker Mayfield. But to make this short, because we don't have a lot of time left, DJ Moore is suffering from effectively the worst quarterback play in pro football with Baker Mayfield as it relates to how he's being used, how he's being targeted, his quality of target, and his ADOT, and all the next level stats would say that DJ Moore is not your issue. He is playing as he always does. It's just that Baker Mayfield is legitimately the worst starting quarterback in the NFL right now. And I get it. It's also kind of not Baker Mayfield's fault. He didn't really get a proper offseason. He's had to just learn this on the fly. It's his 5th offense in 5 years. So what did you want? But the unfortunate reality is Baker Mayfield is literally cratering DJ Moore. DJ Moore for me unstartable until further notice. I'd be trying to fleece somebody out of him in a trade.
Yep.
Or like moving on. Like
and like we saw last week, 49ers are good on defense.
They are.
Yep.
As I tried to warn you. Cowboys, Rams minus 4.5. Don't know what that's about. But this one's really short and sweet. Not going to have Dak this week, but we are trending towards Dak making his return. CeeDee Lamb is fine. Don't worry about CeeDee Lamb popping up on the injury report. You'll have all of your Rams such as they are. The only Rams you can trust is Cooper Kupp, and that's it.
Well,
so
Higbee.
Maybe Tyler Higbee if you were looking for a Gerald Everett replacement or something like that. Rams are going to be. Rams have got a lot of work to do to get back in the swing of things. Eagles, Cardinals. Eagles -5, despite the fact that they're the road team. I actually agree with that line. It's a good line. You will have all of your normal Eagles except for Jake Elliott. We don't do much kicker analysis, and we won't spend much time on it here. But if you have been riding with Jake Elliott, you will have to find some sort of alternative. Shouldn't be too hard to do, but you'll have all of your normal Eagles. With the Cardinals, weirdly, another kicker injury. Matt Prater banged up. They signed Matt Amendola, who was released from the Chiefs. And then they also cut Andy Isabella, who was then signed to the Ravens practice squad. Feels bad, man. It's a shame about Andy Isabella. But I know, Jason, you wanted to talk about one of the Cardinals.
Well, we already touched on one of them, so I'm going.
No. We already did that. That's already done. The other Cardinal you wanted to talk about.
Again, a sit of the week, Kyler Murray. Tough matchup in the Eagles. We saw what they continue to do to quarterbacks. It's terrifying. And the fact that, again, another offense that looks lost. They are going to be able to stop Brown. They're going to be able to just mess up this run game. I do not see him having any success. Eagles, 3rd best team against a quarterback, only allowing 11.5 fantasy points. And Murray's had an easy schedule. This is going to be one of the tougher defenses that he faces. It's terrifying. I know I'm crazy for saying it, but I'm not playing Kyler Murray this week.
No, I don't think you're crazy.
I don't think you're crazy. I just don't think you have any options that'll make any sense that'll be better. Yeah. So that's kind of my issue.
No, he makes all
on the other side of the ball.
Okay, maybe if you wanted to do that. I'm not going there with you. I'm not co-signing that, but I wouldn't put it this way. I'm not going to agree with that, but I also wouldn't like mock you or call you crazy or anything like that, because that's at least close enough in the rankings that if you could do that, that I would just kind of nod and be like, okay, like I understand at least. If you're not going all the way down to like Carson Wentz or something, so I'll give you, we'll go with that. And then we'll do these slightly out of order here. Monday Night Football, Raiders, Chiefs. Hunter Renfrow returns to practice. I would argue it doesn't matter. And beyond that, you'll have all of your normal Chiefs. This game has all the potential to be a shootout. The over/under is 53. And yeah,
Well,
Ravens
that's because
defense or Raiders defense has been terrible also. So there's also that. And then the final game that we'll talk about, because we do have some things for this, the real game of the week, in my opinion, Sunday Night Football, division game, Bengals on the road at the Ravens, Baltimore -3. Vegas doesn't want any of that smoke. They don't know what's going to happen in this game. This should be the game of the week. As far as the Bengals are concerned, T. Higgins limited with an ankle injury. Not worried about it. They're managing him the way that they need to. Also, I'm praying that the Ravens decide to go single coverage against T. Higgins, just like last. Please do that for all of my fantasy teams. I would love it. Do it. Do it. I dare you. You can stop it. Yeah, come on. And then the other one is Hayden Hurst, also limited, dealing with an ankle injury. And Jason, I know you have some feelings. You always love your streaming tight ends, and I know this.
I know,
is,
and
like,
because of the fact that I would have said Conklin, but everybody decided to actually rank him this week in the top 12. So I'm going Hayden Hurst. The secondary is just atrocious. It's going to be a high-scoring game. The volume is going to be there. You might as well go with Hayden Hurst as an option. He's the tight end start of the week just because of that fact. I mean, all he has to do is see 7 targets, and I think that he's going to be a big enough payoff that he either finds the end zone or goes over 50 yards and 5 catches. So you're already seeing double digits there.
All right. No, I could see it. They are using the tight end, and Hayden Hurst is as we've seen, he's a decent, real NFL player. I can't find too much fault in it. If you're looking for a streamer, Hayden Hurst is actually on my rankings as well. He's right in that streamer mix. So if you're looking for a streamer, and it's interesting because he's also involved, as we saw, he's involved in the red zone. So I agree. It's not a bad call.
Well, and even a fun fact about this game, you know who the most targeted player is for the Ravens in the red zone right now? Devin Duvernay.
Oh, I see. Okay, sorry, you're confused.
It's mind blowing. I mean,
the way that you phrased that confused me for a second. But okay, I got you. Other side of the ball. Speaking of Ravens targets, only one note: Rashad Bateman's got a foot injury. He's day to day. Don't love it long term for that because of what he needs to be out there doing. But I mean, you can get all excited about Devin Duvernay if you want, but I'm not going to. And I'm very uninterested in Devin Duvernay. So it's I can tell by Jordan's dismissive eye roll that he agrees with me. I am not interested in this.
I agree with you.
Yeah, not interested in Devin Duvernay. I could see if Bateman doesn't play a massive Mark Andrews game, like just a pile of Mark Andrews points. So I think they're also going to be trying to prove a point. They can play a full 60-minute game, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's your news and analysis from around the league. We're going to get out of here, but I have one last question. Thomas gets one in right at the buzzer. He's got Gerald Everett. Who do you like?
It's Jason Special.
It is.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I had to do it. We need to leave, but I had to do it.
It has to be Conklin there. I mean, that would be where I would go. It's so juicy.
I agree. It's Conklin.
Yeah.
As much as I hate the Jets, it's Conklin.
It is.
I hate the Jets.
On those options, though, it's still Conklin.
Options, I agree. It's Conklin. By the way, 6-0 in this awesome Thursday night game. Don't you love Thursday night football?
Well,
what a
it
disaster.
Could have been the game that we were talking about earlier in the Commanders and the Bears. Like that game's going to be rough.
Yeah, great. Put that on Thursday night because it's going to be a nightmare. It'll be a nightmare either way, and neither team's going to the playoffs. They need to start letting people flex these Thursday night games. But that's a conversation for a different day. So let's go around the horn here. Jason, where can the people find you?
Pretty much that FF nerd anywhere. I mean, I do my show. Well, clearly at halftime we have a show going on. I'll be there.
I was gonna say start with that because in about 30 seconds you're gonna be back on.
Yeah, Sunday start sit on Twitter Space, then Monday back for the Waiver Wire show, and then back here Thursday. So otherwise, join the Discord, and we actually have great merch. So you should check out shop.importantnonsense.com.
And Jordan, where can the people find you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at Donald McJordan, like it says. I don't tweet as much as I used to. I keep the angry cold tweets to a kind of a minimum now. But
that's probably good because I thought they were going to suspend your account at one point.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but maybe I'll have a few angry cold tweets the second half. We'll see. We'll see how I feel.
We'll see. Also, once the beverages start going, Polo.
Oh,
as
Polo.
well, super fan Polo, by the way.
Gotta love it.
I took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly where I was going. I'm Neil Smith. You can find me at @nonsense_Neil on Twitter. However, the best way to find me and where I am all day, every day, answering people's questions is on our Important Nonsense Discord in our lovely community. We've added it for everybody right there. Patreon.com/. Yep. There you go.
There you go. It's harder than it looks, doesn't it?
It's harder than it looks. Yeah. But for $1, that gets you onto our Discord. Join us, and we'll take your questions live and in real time. So it's a pleasure as always working with you gentlemen, and also to all the fans. We appreciate all the questions and the support. But yeah, $1 a month. Get in the Patreon. If we didn't get to your question today, although I think we did get to every single person today except for possibly this.
Oh God!
Holy cow! This is way too long. Holy cow!
Traded D-Hop for Montgomery.
I'll tell you what, Thomas.
I'm okay with it.
I'm about to make you pay me $1.
He's loaded at wide receiver. He gave up him for Montgomery, who's going to see a lot of the workload when he comes back. It's fine. I mean, clearly you need help at running back.
You have too many Packers.
I'm in that same boat though. You know,
I would actually possibly do this.
Yeah, I think it's a good trade.
Sign up for our Patreon for $1, and we will
can gladly go to depth.
We will answer this in detail. Conklin, and we're leaving.
Because that's definitely supposed to be Hurst. But yes, Conklin. Also tired of this game.
He corrected it. But yeah. Looking forward to all the questions in the Discord, and stay tuned because in just a minute here, we will be right back for halftime of the Thursday night game to get you set for all your degenerate sports betting needs, not only for the second half, but also for the weekend. So stick around because if you want more Jason in your life, that's a great way to get it because he's coming right back with you. But for those of you sticking around, you'll see Jason again in a minute. Hit Jordan and I up on Discord, and Jordan, try not to get too drunk and fight somebody for the second half of this Colts game because I know it's going to be a tall order for you.
It's a
And with that, keep up the nonsense, everybody, and have a week.